Bistro.
Andy Bistro.
Yeah.
Man, you think that place is still open?
I don't know. I'll check as soon as we stop this.
Okay. So yeah, we played D Bistro, and in the middle of the set, my amp was cutting in and out.
Well, something always happens when Thieves comes anywhere near Canada.
That's very true.
So this was the first time that we were like, oh, this is a good show we're playing. This is working out in Canada.
Yeah, walked around Toronto for a long time that day before the show, and
a lot of people came. All the bands were good.
The food was great at D Bistro.
Yeah.
I looked back, and sure enough, my amp was on fire. The back of it was shooting out flames, and so I had to stop and get rid of that, and I borrowed one of the band's amps for the rest of the show. The band that played after us just let me use their amp, but it was a little baby practice amp.
Oh, okay.
And so for the rest of the show...
I forgot about that.
Yeah, for the rest of the show I was using this practice amp. But I think the coolest part about this story is getting the amp fixed. We had to go to this amp shop in the mall. I can't remember how we found it. I may have just looked it up online, amp repair, and brought it in, and it wasn't a guitar shop, it wasn't a music shop, it was a home theater and like surround sound shop.
Yeah.
And so I went in, and I didn't bring my amp in because I didn't want to lug it in if they were just going to tell me no. And so I said, hey, I have an amp. It caught on fire last night. I need a real quick fix on it. And he said, cool, what kind of amp is it? And I said, a Fender Bassman. And the guy said, oh, a guitar amp.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I don't really, is that something y'all can do? And he said, well, bring it in. It's, somewhat the same.
Yeah.
And I brought it in, and he fixed it. And they were really nice. And I think the guy was kind of real excited to work on
a piece
something
of
else.
Instrument. Yeah. That's cool.
And he showed me the repair shop in the back, and I waited for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and the way they had their showroom set up was just all these little living rooms. So they would have all these speakers and all these tuners, and then chairs and couches around them.
Oh, okay.
And so for the 2 hours I was waiting, I would get up and turn one of the tuners on, and it would play the demo song.
Oh,
and I'd go and sit in the couch,
listen
to it on that one
the whole time.
Cool. I'd get up, turn it off, turn on the next one, sit back on the couch. Cool. Just for 2 hours, just at every little
Sounds terrible.
section. It was cool. No one was in there. I entertained myself.
That's good.
Yeah, shout out to that random store in the Toronto Mall.